payoff plan, they wouldn't both be sitting together. Just like the vehicles, on the vehicles, it shows how much we're gonna pay for the next 12 months.
Okay.
Even though we may owe on them for the next 3 or 4 years. But that's a different document that breaks that down. I understand what you're saying, but
On page 19, on page 19, on page 19 has debt service. And he's saying when, on the expenditures, which is our payments, it should be listed, Prairie View A&M University, and what that number is in this document, and
So a summary document, I have it right here on the detail page. For your information, the debt, the principal portion to the university would be $30,966.
that's 30,000.
I got to see.
That's per year.
That's the first year. Each year is gonna change. You pay more interest the earlier years and less principal, then you pay more principal for it.
So, and we have, this is the 2020 budget.
Right.
So it's just what's gonna be paid
Exactly.
or brought in that.
Do we have the amount? What's the total amount?
The total amount is, the interest portion is, and I can give y'all that at another time, but for budget purposes, you have a summary of the line.
No, I'm
What's
saying,
that?
wouldn't it be, it should be still in Public Works as far
It's
as,
still, go ahead.
like, the amount of, so right now we're identifying what our monthly or annual expenditures will be.
Right, that's your annual.
So what is the total breakdown on the amount owed to the university? So if we are saying we're gonna move forward with a 7-year plan, each year we can identify it in our budget
Right.
as a continuation, if we're starting it this year. And so we're just simply asking, what is the total amount?
You wanna know what the total amount that we're gonna, the loan we're gonna have with the university? Is that what you're asking me? The total?
For why we gonna pay 39.66, we should have a total.
All right, we're still in negotiation with the university. For budget purposes, I have it right here.
So we don't have a total.
No, the total is $600,000.
So what did the,
Here it is right here.
so what did the 30?
There it is right there. That's the amortization table for $600,000 note over 15 years at roughly 3%. That,
So we just gonna pay double?
no.
Hold up, because I think we're getting just slightly off
Yeah,
track.
we get.
See, what we're approving tonight is what's gonna be paid out over the next 12 months, starting October 1.
Right.
And what we need to do, Mr. Johnson, for council's information, is what you have that gives the breakdown,
Right.
give it to them. Because here we've got the totals of what's gonna be paid in 12 months,
Yeah, I
but
can
if they
provide
want
that.
balances, they got it right to that, let's
Right.
give it to them.
I can give them.
As opposed to
Yeah, I can
back and
provide you
forth.
with
So
that.
whatever
No
it
problem.
is you all want, let Mr. Johnson know, and he's gonna give you that breakdown.
I
Whether
can
it's
give
the
you the
balance
breakdown.
sheet, the
Right.
financial
No
statement,
problem.
because they are different documents
Yeah.
from the budget, so that way they'll have everything.
But what we've done, we've summarized the totals.
Mr.
of
Johnson?
purchases. Go ahead.
Okay.
The other question,
Go ahead, Councilman.
in municipal court, is this a new person?
No. Oh, yeah, they just hired a new person.
So they just hired?
Well, I don't know how long she's been hired, but she replaced another person that left. Shanika, you'd have to talk with Judge Alexander.
You go to check see when she's
It's
out.
already,
She's in the check see.
this was
July.
budgeted.
She's no, same position.
Yeah, the person that was in
Yeah,
it left,
yeah, she left and she
And
replaced her.
it was
A
filled, it was
month or
already
so
in the
ago.
budget.
All right, so the only reason I ask is because it says new hire,
No,
and
no.
I'm assuming that's the person, not the position.
That's
I'm
the
just
person,
asking for
right,
clarity.
that's the person, that's the position.
So last year, when we approved the budget, there were 3 people in municipal court, is what you're saying.
I mean, the judge and two.
Judge and
Right,
2.
Judge
Yes.
too, right,
Okay.
Yes.
right.
Yeah, Ms. Good, Ms. Good was over there, and she
Right.
took another position. Council, anything else on the budget?
I would address one item, and that's, do we talk about the date to approve property tax in this area here, or that it's not listed? They
Do
have
we,
to
do
talk
we
about
set,
it now in the budget.
is it appropriate now to pick a date to approve the property tax rates?
That's
Since
part of
that
the budget.
couldn't be done tonight?
Yeah, I had it at the end of the meeting, but right now it's
Well, we're on
fine
budget
because you have
stuff.
to
Yeah,
have the,
right.
you have to base your property tax rate on your
Exactly, right,
budget.
I
So,
need a date.
so prior to tonight, we couldn't have the,
Yeah.
Right.
So also on page 9,
Mm-hmm.
the last statement probably need to be taken out,
What's the last statement?
since we moved it to contingent.
Oh, you mean?
No, that was just kind of a clarity, that was for,
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, what's a good day for council? We need a quorum to approve the property tax rate because it's a requirement to go with the budget. What's council's pleasure? It's gotta be done in the next week.
we gotta do it before the 30th.
Gotta be done in the next
Has to
7
be done
days.
before the 30th. By the 30th.
Is Thursday?
Is that the 30th?
Monday the 30th?
ooh, you need, y'all sure you wanna wait till the last one?
Now,
You can't do it on Sunday.
now, Monday. Let me say this, the earliest you approve it, the quicker we can have that date given to your property tax.
Now, keep in mind, EDC's meeting starts what time? 6, 7? 6?
The actual meeting starts at 6.
6. And we've got planning and zoning, which starts at what time, Mr. Anderson?
On Monday?
On
What time
Thursday,
does your planning and zoning meeting start?
5:30,
Wednesday?
on Thursday,
Thursday.
Thursday?
second Thursday.
Okay, because all I'm saying is, if we can get a quorum, because we've already agreed, we've held the hearings, to approve the tax rate, you're talking a 5-minute meeting, even if people sneeze.
On what day?
Whatever date is good, I'm just letting you know, we can easily do it before.
Well, you have to have time to post it, so.
72 hours.
So Monday is cool, right?
Monday.
If for some reason you did not get a quorum on Monday,
Yeah, we're done.
you're,
That's why
I mean,
it's-
that's the last day, so that's, you need to be short.
Who could be here Monday, and at what time?
Monday at 7. Jason, you gonna give me a job?
Well, if, hold on, who can be here at 6?
I don't need to be here for that.
Because if we start at 6 and it doesn't work, we can hold on till,
7.
yeah.
You can do it at noon over your lunch hour.
7 is fine.
Oh, lunch
Is
hour.
there a lunch hour?
Lunch hour.
That's also a possibility.
Lunch hour.
I don't know about your schedules.
I think we have 2 teachers that don't think they can come.
They don't get those lunch hours.
Yeah.
They have to.
7,
Whatever date y'all fix, y'all.
and then I can do
You have
any
to
day
show.
this week.
You have to show.
Monday the 30th at 7,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
I got Ms. Bynum, so we just want to post it.
What's it today?
Yeah.
Okay.
The other item, are we still going on in things within that item?
Yeah.
On so we was given the ordinance, and I had 2 things I wanted to add to the ordinance. Well, one, I wanted to make sure that each of the items that we had that was signified in the budget on contingent, were put on the sheets of the departments. And then in this, which is the ordinance that I passed out to everybody, that was drafted by, I think it was the attorney Griffin?
I reviewed it.
Reviewed it?
Yeah.
So was it drafted by, was JJ or?
No. I mean, I think it was a prior year's,
Prior
so I
year.
think it was probably
Prior
Attorney
year.
Hayes originally drafted it, so I reviewed it and tweaked it a little bit,
Is
so
this
yes.
8.600 or which one? We got a couple of
It's,
ordinances.
the one at the top, it says 923004. It's what I had got from, city secretary.
Okay, you want to proceed with that, council?
So the attorney Griffin has reviewed the document, but there are 2 things I wanted to add, well, 3. One, in section 4, there's a T that needs to come out. And then on section 3, to add a statement that says, however, any amount placed in however, any amount placed in contingency must come back to city council for further approval. Right now, yeah, that should be in our ordinance. And then the second question on, shall recommend such transfers to city council. There's an amount that we can also, put in this, item for recommendation. We were all, we've all been under the thought process of how much.
You have proposed amount?
What has the amount for spending, like, for things that aren't for the mayor?
If it's not in the budget, generally, unless it's an emergency, it's got to come back before council.
There's an
We
amount.
haven't really been going out, so what amount does council want to set?
The two cities that I talked to was 5,000.
All right, cool.
5,000.
Any additional?
Okay, what else?
That means any amount over 5,000, that is not in our date, what is it called?
The budget.
Operating?
Yeah, in our, within the budget, yeah.
Anything else, council?
All right, that was it.
That's it.
I move that we accept the budget with the, with the needed changes.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that council accept the budget with the needed changes. You've heard the motion, ready for the questions?
Question.
All those in favor say aye. And let's do a hand vote, we just want to make sure we got it. Voice
No,
vote?
no, it's a required roll call.
Voice vote,
Yeah.
Councilman.
Well, I want to vote, but does the first page 1, 2, and 3, will that be changed based upon the changes?
Okay, want to do the
Aye.
call the quorum, Ms. Bynum, start with Councilman Rowland.
Councilmember Rowland,
Aye.
Councilmember Randall,
Aye.
Councilmember Jones,
Aye.
Councilmember Williams,
I abstain.
Councilmember Wallace.
Aye.
So move the 2019-2020 budget has been passed.
I move that we accept the city council ordinance, ordinance 2019-0923-004 with the necessary corrective changes.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that council accept ordinance number 2019-0923-004 with the necessary changes. You've heard the motion, ready for the questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Need a voice vote?
Yes, please.
Okay. Ms. Bynum?
Councilmember Rowland,
Aye.
Councilmember Randall,
Aye.
Councilmember Jones,
Aye.
Councilmember Williams,
Abstain.
Councilmember Wallace.
Aye.
Ordinance passed. Item number 4, Councilman Jones.
I move that we remove item number 4.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that item number 4 be removed. Discuss and take action on city council budgeting, setting aside $200,000 to purchase land for an unspecified purpose. You've heard the motion, ready for the questions?
Question.
And it was moved, I'm sorry, removed? Good. Okay, so be good. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed have the same right? Ayes have it. Item 5, discuss, consider financial statements received from bookkeeper, Councilman Rowland.
So this was a, item on there, we're supposed to get our report, Mr. Johnson. I don't have.
Yeah, we don't have a report for tonight. We're still collecting data from the different departments. We'll have one by the end of this week. What we'll do, we'll put that report in your box.
Okay, so, I move that we discuss item number 5, the next, city council meeting.
Right.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that item 5 be carried over to the next city council meeting. You've heard the motion, ready for the questions. Question. All in favor say aye. Opposed have the same right. Ayes have it. Item 6, discuss and take action on the job description and roles of city treasurer and the financial consultant J.J. Johnson's contract for services in reference to responsibility of records and fiduciary responsibility with the city council. Councilman Rowland.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wanted this to be on. I don't necessarily know if it needed to be on with all that we have for tonight, but one of the questions we had was, what is the roles and the differentiation between our city treasurer, which is a position that we have had, that has been vacant for 3 years, and that we have had filled within the last, is it 2 months or 3 months?
Yeah, about a couple months.
Treasurer, city treasurer, 3 months. And so we needed to have a conversation, and my goal was to put this on the agenda for us to have a conversation, because we have not set clear lines of delineation on what is gonna be required in reference to what city council needs, not necessarily what the staff is going to do. In reference to our city treasurer, which is Ms. Johnson, and our consultant, which is Mr. Johnson. Wait, yeah. Yeah, Johnson and Johnson.
No relation to that.
So, that kind of threw me off, I'm sorry. So, before council is both descriptions of the city treasurer. The first question I had, is this the description that we approved for the treasurer when we hired? And then the contract from Mr. Johnson, we had, this contract is from 2016. And so the question, this is Attorney Hayes had this, and so Attorney Griffin, have you had an opportunity to look at Mr. Johnson's contract?
If this is the current contract, all there is an unsigned contract that expired in 2017. So, other than that, I haven't reviewed any of the terms of it, but it's not a current contract.
All right, so what is our responsibility, what is our what do we need,
I would think you would want to negotiate a new contract.
okay.
That's up to the council, but I don't like the document. There could be an existing one, and this isn't it. Maybe Mr. Johnson has a copy of it, or?
Mr. Johnson?
No, mine is not signed either.
Council has historically, with Mr. Johnson, who's been here 20-something years, and with others, when they had a contract, if there was no changes, as with other things, they simply voted to extend them.
Yeah, this contract just isn't written that way, but if council's interested in keeping the terms the same, we can just draft some new dates and put them in there and make it, renewable annually, or however you wanna do that. If you just give some direction, I don't know if you wanna think about it, or if you wanna give direction and we can bring something back.
I would love, now that we know what needs to happen is in reference to a new contract, Mr. Johnson. And then also, if council can get an opportunity to look at the job description with our city treasurer. And we need to look at the differences in roles and responsibilities to the city, to city staff, and then responsibilities and roles to the public, and then roles and responsibilities to the city council. So we know who do we get certain information from, what's the flow of information, who should have what, because currently if you look at Mr. Johnson's contract, he's been speaking for us as our main person, but Mr. Johnson's contract really, he's the person on the back end, he shores up everything. And so again, I will move that we, I move that we move this to our next, city council meeting. But again, I just wanted to put on the agenda for us to now have a discussion.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that item 6, discuss and take action on job description and roles of city treasurer and financial consultant J.J. Johnson's contract for services in reference to responsibility of records and fiduciary responsibility of Fairview City Council be moved to the next meeting. You've heard the motion, ready for questions.
I'm reading it.
I'm ready, miss.
So,
Councilman Jones?
what exactly do you want to happen from this being on our?
All right, so first, so my first thing was for us to look at what we had. Looking at what we had, we discovered that we currently don't have a contract with Mr. Johnson.
Okay, that's.
So then that needs to happen.
Okay.
Second thing is we need to figure out if Mr. Johnson's been up here giving us a presentation and controlling our financial budget of of what we just did. Mr. Johnson, even though he's known it and been a part of it for 20+ years, Mr. Johnson's contract really says he's only supposed to receive the information that at the last agenda item that we just talked about, he says he don't have the information to produce to us because he hasn't received it. What I wanted to do was clarify the roles of who needs to get what to Mr. Johnson by what date. And so we now make sure that at our next meetings when we ask for documentation, we can pinpoint why we don't, or what we have, or what the process is. We have a new person, and so we haven't integrated or figured out what her role is within the city.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, but we also don't know if, I mean, you asked the question, but didn't wait for the answer to know whether or not this is the job description in which was proposed or which was put up. That's what I'm saying. So just from us listing this next item on our subsequent meeting doesn't mean that we'll get the necessary, clarity to it.
October 21st?
Oh, so.
I think you're just asking for clearer language.
No, he just wants to know exactly what you want. You mentioned that you don't know what the city treasurer does for Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson's been doing the same thing he's been doing for over 20 years. Hold up, I'm responding to you. The treasurer, Ms. Johnson, has been doing the same thing minus the election and the code of ordinance that Ms. Shannon Smith did. They've been processing, paying bills, that's what the treasurer has been doing. Mr. Johnson has been receiving information, and he collates it with the budget. We went over everything, we got with every department head. So I'm with Councilman Jones just in terms of we want to be clear what you want so we can give it to you, but don't say we don't have what we already have, because you don't want us to give you what we already been giving you. If you want something different, just let us know.
So on both of the items, that is on number 6, they're not, so one, the answer to if this is the job description that we posted has not been answered.
He's just not asking a question, and I don't know what he's looking at, so.
The same thing that was in your packet.
So just read it to him. This is so that all you.
So just, I mean, it's a 2-page description, all I'm saying, so again, it was, the answer was not going to come. So we asked for, I'm assuming this was the job description that we approved. It didn't look like it, so the answer is either yes or no. Is this the description for the treasurer and what you just said her roles are? We want to see what that is. Mr. Johnson's contract, which is unsigned, that we just discovered that has not been signed since 2016.
So
We're saying
that's
that-
one point of business, so now we see that we need to put that on the new business.
That's the whole,
Yes, but there's a reason, and we have to talk this out, because all we're gonna continue to do is just say, hey, like, I'm agreeing with you, but I wanna make sure that we have, like, so that way when we come back to the next meeting, we no longer looking at the same documents and talking about the same thing. So the first item, which you did help us come up with, was that we need to put on the next agenda for JJ's contract. The second thing, which we still haven't got an answer for, is whether or not that the contract, that the job description which council have, if mayor doesn't have it, I don't mind passing you mine, but the job description in which was given to us, is that the job description that was posted?
this thing has been posted for months, without having both of them side by side, I can't answer that. I don't wanna say yes, and then we look at the newspaper article, and it's a little different.
Okay, so with this being moved to next meeting, could, by next meeting, you be able to, okay, thank you. So that's the second thing that we got from this, and what else would you like to receive?
From this meeting, how is the financial interactions with Mr. Johnson and the city secretary? I just described to you, within our current contract, Mr. Johnson doesn't see the information till on the back end, which means someone must provide him with the information on the front end. Is that main contact the city secretary, city treasurer, Ms. Johnson, and we want to see that process flow. All I'm simply asking, so again, just to get clear.
Okay, so you also want by next meeting, Mr. Mayor, for the process flow as how the city looks with the direction of the city treasurer and that's happening.
We can give you that.
But I'm just saying, so that way, next meeting, we know the three things that we're looking for when we come back to this item. All right, nothing to this.
No.
All those in favor say aye. But you call for the questions. All those in, motion passed.
We didn't even vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
It passed. City council reports, Councilman Rowland.
Citizens, it's a pleasure to be with you to pass our great city budget. As I've had the opportunity to serve you for 10 years, every year we've continued to increase our investment in the police department, not increase the citizens' taxes, but also try to expand on the features and quality of life in this community. We may not agree every day, but the goal is for us to continue to work together to make this community safer and better. I've had the opportunity over the last, I guess, two or three weeks since we've been here. Again, I am working with an organization to engage members in our community with St. Bernard Electric. So if that is something, Electric Co-op, SBEC, if that's something that you're interested in or familiar with, I'd definitely love to get your contact information to help to see how do we get more things, more improvement, more things in our community. I think we're in District 7. Second thing is I had the opportunity to continue to work with TABCCM, where I'm the treasurer, Texas Association of Black City Council members. We are working on an endowment planning. Our organization is the largest affiliate within TML, and we are working to set up, we've given away $25,000 in scholarships this last year. The goal is to set aside $50,000 with our scholarship and set up an endowment for college students. We have 4 students at Prairie View currently who've received our scholarship, which has been $2,000. Along with, we had our quarterly meeting with the Texas NAACP in the city of Temple. I had the opportunity to present about the conference, our state conference that we're having in San Angelo, Texas, October 3rd through the 6th. If you would like any additional information, please let me know. I had the opportunity last weekend to participate, I told you about, with Boy Scouts, a leadership training called Wood Badge. It is not an extensive, but leadership training where we're allowed to work on projects to better our community, to better our troop. Again, as you know, Troop 1906 has been in the city of Prairie View for the last 8 years, and so what we're planning on is to make sure that we're going to be around for the next 10. Had the opportunity to go to a conference, not on the city's dime, but representing the great state with an organization called Consumer Action. And we had the opportunity to talk with the director of the CFPB, Consumer Financing Bureau, CFPB, in reference to payday lending and predatory lending. That is something that's been happening with seniors. And then also the conversation where we want to host a summit here in our community so we can talk about some of the upcoming things with CRA and HMDA data. As you know, the CFPB is taking out a restriction that we have that would allow citizens to be able to get the information on where banks lend, which is an important tool that most civil rights or advocacy organizations use to get banks to comply and invest into their communities. How is that connected to the city? The city has, we talk about funding and banking institutions in our community. Banks use that data from banking to be able to see what communities they go into and invest in. So if we have, well, because of many of our issues, whether it be zip coding or any others, we have an opportunity to address that. Again, thank you for allowing me to speak, because I've had to come to public meetings and special meetings and budget meetings on my Sundays and to fellowship with you. So I want to share everything that I've been doing. Again, the Boy Scouts meets on the first and third Wednesday. Please come out and support us. Thank you.
Okay, Councilman Jones?
As always, it is a pleasure of mine to serve. I got the chance to see how smart meters work and the influence and impact that it has on the city of Hempstead, and brought back some valuable information that I'll be trying to work on here shortly. Also tomorrow I'll be able to speak to the Purview Credit Union about a college fund pilot program started with Jones Elementary for 3rd and 5th graders for their parents to start a college account, so that way when they're seniors in high school and moving on to the next level, even if they choose not to go to college, they will have access to funds. Also attended Commissioner's Court this past week. Me and Councilmember Wallace have been working on health services for our community, and we received some good news from our local partners on partnering up with the city of Purview. So we'll be discussing and bringing that plan to council, and as well as I would like to send my deepest regards for missing his funeral, and his man and his family means so much to me. I would like to keep Mr. Marshall Brown in my prayers, and pray for his family as well, for healing, and just for God to continue to watch over his family. And if we could, just please take 3 seconds, a moment of silence for his family right now at this time. Thank you.
Councilman Williams?
Good afternoon. Thank you everybody for coming out. Thank you for your support. As Councilman Johnson mentioned, Dr. Brown's daughter, Mia Brown, which is my classmate, class of 1985, Waller High School, went to her services, and she had a great homegoing service. And again, keep that family in their prayers. We also had a great meeting today with Dr. Bradford and the rest of the Purdue University staff about our water bill. We've made some leeway. USW is gone, but I wanted to thank them for coming to that meeting, because they really shedded some light and gave us some insight on water flow and different things. And I plan to do a complete write-up of that meeting so that it can be here, so everybody get a copy of it, so you can see exactly what was said and what the city of Preview's plan is to clear up their debt to the university. That's not our plan to be in debt to them. And other things that we had talked about. Thank you.
Councilman Wallace?
Good evening to the citizens of Prairie View. So first and foremost, me and Councilman Jones have been working on some initiatives to create the communiversity, so that the neighboring city and the university can work together to continue the quality of life and just continue to help the citizens in any ways possible. I'm working with Waller County to see if we can start having a conference. So as y'all know, we may go to conferences out of the city, out of state. I want to start having some conferences in Waller County so that we can get the knowledge and also partner with those surrounding us for the knowledge that we need to continue to move the city forward.